Boeing is at the heart of like a ton of, I don't even want to call them scandals, but like late stage capitalist of courses. On
Yes.
Saturday, the Department of Justice officially opened a criminal investigation into that Alaska flight, whose door blew off because apparently the bolts weren't screwed on properly or were just ill-fitting bolts. I think that's an interesting workers question there. Like, are you
Yeah.
blaming workers for just not
Yeah.
tightening them? Put that aside. But then this week, a bunch of other Boeing accidents occurred. Let's just go through them and then sort of get to the big story.
Mhm.
So, in one incident, and sadly they're all United, which I'm an American Airlines bitch myself, but United Flight 35, Boeing 777, carrying 235 passengers and 14 crew, was taking off from San Francisco to Osaka when a tire fell off. It landed in the airport staff car park, breaking a car window. The tire, not the flight. I thought for a second. Apparently, that was fine because the plane can land without tires, which you're like,
Oh, thank God.
why was that even a like
Yeah.
fallback plan? Then this is all this week, y'all, or last week, in the last 10 days. On Monday, footage showed bright flames bursting out of an engine of United Flight 1118, a Boeing 737, en route to from Houston to Fort Myers. The flight was carrying 167 passengers and made an emergency landing back in Houston. And then Flight 2477, Boeing 737 MAX 8, carrying 160 passengers and 6 crew, attempted to land at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport when it rolled off the taxiway into the grass. United added that the passengers, who were all safe, deplaned via movable stairs, which I gotta say sounds kind of tight. Like that's fun. Like, you landed in the grass and then you got to like get off in the middle of the run. I don't know. There's something I'm like, that'd be kind of cool just for the story.
No, I agree. I agree.
Like, first of all, I love movable stairs, exits, and entries. I like the fresh air. Um, so they are so lucky that none of these incidents in the last week like resulted in um injuries or deaths, not even that door flying off. Of course, this is to say nothing of the 2 flights that on their Boeing Max, forgot which 7 something something, um those 2 flights did crash because of their faulty technology on their like self-correcting whatever, um some fucking electronic malfunction. But on top of all that, this week, and this is pretty freaking scary, a man named John Barnett, who was a whistleblower, um, was found dead in his car. He was a whistleblower for Boeing. He had worked at Boeing for 32 years until his retirement in 2017. In the days before his death, he had been giving evidence in a whistleblower lawsuit against the company. Dun dun dun. Now, before you get too crazy, this was an ongoing lawsuit. Basically, he was suing the company for stalking him, for harassing him, and they
Mhm.
were deposing him in that lawsuit. So it's not that this was his only testimony about the company's malfeasance, but let's look at his history of testimony. In 2019, he told the BBC that under pressure workers had been deliberately fitting substandard parts to aircraft on the production line. He also said he uncovered serious problems with oxygen systems, which could mean 1 in 4 breathing masks would not work in an emergency. Hopefully, it's not the one you give to your child first, or is the one you give to I'm not sure. Depends on how much you love your kid. But he said in some cases, substandard parts had even been removed from scrap bins and fitted to planes that were being built to prevent delays on the production line. Yes, wouldn't want to slow that down. Boeing denied assertions, however, in a 2017 review by U.S. regulator. The Federal Aviation Administration did uphold some of Mr. Barnett's concerns. After retiring, he embarked on a long running legal action against the company. He accused it of denigrating his character and hampering his career because of the issues he pointed out, charges rejected by Boeing. And it was that he was in the middle of testifying about. And you can only imagine, you know, had he lived, if the DOJ would have interviewed him about this, more
Mhm.
the latest debacle with the door flying off of the building. He or the plane. He was found by a self-inflicted wound. It up until now, and maybe folks know differently, I'm not getting confirmation on what that wound was. Whether it was like there were just a lot of bruises or it was a gunshot wound, it's unclear. But Mohaned, I got a flight coming up. You got to travel for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Beyond being completely self-interested, this is just it's so terrifying and so predictable about what happens when you just allow your bottom line to run everything.
Hmm. It's honestly, it's. I mean, it's scary because I've noticed even like when I take some flights, sometimes people will ask you if you would be willing to switch seats with them because they don't want to sit by the window seat anymore, as
God.
if that's gonna change anything. I'm like, if this breaks, we're all gone.
Yeah,
It's not just gonna be the window person, but
exactly. But yes, but I'm an aisle person, but mostly because I have to pee a lot.
yeah, but I think at least if you're gonna have all of these issues, make flights cheaper. I don't know.
Give
You
us
can give us
yes,
something.
free baggage. And no, and this is on top of it. I mean, Biden is trying to do away with junk fees. There's going to
Hmm.
be something around, uh, all the extra fees that airlines care like charge you. But like, I just want to live. I mean, there's a reason why people clap when the plane lands. It's not that it was a good landing. It's because they're alive.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, it's honestly like just like you said, it's so scary because like we know capitalism is bad, but like this is like a whole different level.
yes,
Because at least like I feel like for planes, I literally never have been scared of it crashing or like something bad happening. That's just like something that I never thought about, even though I travel a lot. But now it's a possibility. Like we see the incidents, we see the numbers,
right.
and
Before
how
it
are
was
we
like
allowing
this.
that?
Right, it was like statistically you're like, "Nah, I'm not gonna be in that statistic," but now it's like, "Oh, statistically you might," you know? Um, and no, and yes, and people are mentioning, thank you, Bad Lefty, is also Boeing's one of the biggest arms dealers. Yeah, and that is actually really interesting when it comes to do you remember, Mohaned, during the UAW strike, that there was also, and I think a promise from leaders like Sean Fain to look into whether UAW was complicit in manufacturing and some of the weapons that were used to kill Palestinians, and that would be like an ongoing investigation. And I'm very curious because there is, Boeing is renegotiating their contract. They're looking for a 40% pay raise over the next 3 to 4 years. They let's see, the last deal was in 2014 and it limited pay raises to less than 1% on average. So again, and this is like we already know that pilots and air oh gosh, I can't air hostesses, how do you call them? Not
Flight
stewardesses,
attendants.
flight attendants. I always forget what flight attendants the broads with the nice legs.
Yeah.
Like we all know that they are like not getting paid enough. They're like horrible um horrible schedules, overtired, ridiculous routes. And
Hmm.
then now it's the people manufacturing these planes that are like have like horrible, like what limits on how much they can get a raise by. And so I am very interested and curious to see like if this becomes, which it is, a worker issue, especially if the company tries to
Of
pass the
course.
buck to the workers, um, how that could dovetail into maybe, and this is maybe just my wishful thinking, some kind of protest or around their Boeing's involvement in like, yeah, wars abroad. Um, yeah, that's just me. That's just me like pie in the sky. But in the meantime, Pete Buttigieg needs to fucking do some shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot that that was his thing. You
He
know,
thought it was gonna be such an easy role. He was like, this is no one's even nobody cares. Department of Transportation, not a big deal.
you know what? I think at least they can do is they need to start offering good meals on planes
Oh
because
yeah.
here's the thing: if this is gonna be my last meal, I need it to be something good. You can't give me that Biscoff shit again. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, exactly. I don't want that snack basket passed around.
No,
Um, what would you want them to serve?
probably like meat, chicken, some beef.
Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah.
steak. something
I
like
mean,
that.
how many people had to piss off a drink cart for them to stop selling alcohol as they did? Like, I do think
Yeah,
alcohol should be free. Especially, I believe that alcohol should be free when a little bit of turbulence, let the booze flow, you know? Especially if your
absolutely.
oxygen masks aren't gonna work, your girl's gonna need a few vodkas, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. They need, yeah, like give me something. If you're not gonna fix the problem, give me ways to cope with the problem.
Yeah, a little filet mignon, and I'll say nothing about it. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do